Hi guys, I'm here today to talk to you about the upcoming ingress of Mars into Sagittarius. It happens on December 13th and Mars will stay in the sign of the Centaur until January 24th. So my name is Anastasia. For those of you who don't know, I'm a traditional Western astrologer. I do predictive readings, natal chart readings. There are links down below to book a reading with me. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the like button. An announcement, I wanted to let you know that I'm doing a webinar titled Astrology of 2022, giving you tips and insights on the major transits of the upcoming year. If you'd like to book your spot, there is a link down below as well. It's happening on December 18th. So let's talk about this major change. Mars is a relatively slow planet, right? It takes almost 2 months to transition from one sign to another, a month and a half. And it's quite significant. Mars is our ambitions, our drives. Venus is usually what we desire, and Mars describes how we go after things we desire. And then when the planet changes signs, the way we go after things changes. Sometimes even things that excite us change, right? So Sagittarius is the sign ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is about expansion and faith and things that teach us, and Sagittarius, that's why classically is connected to that teacher archetype. Sagittarius is an interesting sign, right? Like it's ruled by Jupiter and it's that like young masculine version of Jupiter. And Jupiter in Greek or Roman myth has been connected to Zeus, the father of gods and men, who was quite dramatic in his nature. He's known for his conquests and his many love affairs, and the stories of Zeus are plentiful and abundant. So Robert Graves in his book Creation of the World describes Zeus as the intensely competitive, conquering, bombastic in nature. So Sagittarians may sometimes have that reputation of being very easygoing and chill and just like good natured, but they're so much deeper, right? Like so much more passionate. There's all this, there's drive, there's competitive spirit, there's a desire to reach to the top. And that's the side of Zeus that is, he is God, he's a god, right? Like he's the father of all gods in a way, but he's also married and he has children and he has to deal with his wife. If you're familiar with Greek or Roman myth, there's a lot of drama in his life, right? And so Sagittarians embody some of that desire or feeling of, there's more to life. There is kind of like powers and things to unravel and spirituality to express, but there is also the embodiment. For Zeus, it was his marriage and his children and his wife and their relationship. For Sagittarians, it's that fact that we are embodied, right? And we have commitments and we have dealings with other people. So for some of us, for many of us, this transit will be in part that, like, how do you deal with your daily life, but then still pursue things that are spiritual and that are uplifting, right, and empowering to other people. Like how can we share our gifts and talents and bring the world to better place? And that's another quality of Sagittarius. There is strong idealism, right? Sometimes even naivete to some extent. They have these ideas and they're burning with fiery passion to get there, right? And I'm just talking about Sagittarians in general. Anyone who has strong Sagittarius placements may relate to that. Another figure that is connected to Sagittarius is that of Chiron. And for some of you who know the story of Chiron, he was a centaur rejected by his father Saturn, Cronus, which makes him the brother of Zeus. And he became this really wise and spiritual figure, very intellectual. He was a healer, but he was also making potions. And one day when he was teaching Hercules how to fire a poisonous arrow, he shot himself in the foot. And because he was immortal, he couldn't die. So for a while, he had to suffer once again kind of, takes us back to the eternal suffering of human beings. We crave spirituality, but we are limited by our physical bodies. Not that one rejects the other, but there's definitely that challenge that we're all facing. And so Chiron's story ends in him sacrificing himself for Prometheus, who is connected to Uranus and who stole fire from gods and brought it down to earth. So in Chiron's story, there is a lot of wisdom, which is something that Sagittarians are known for, but there is also a deep hurt or deep understanding of the unfairness and injustice of the world. Desire to transcend that through committing to a larger goal, right? Or like in Chiron's case, he transcended his wound by sacrificing himself. A very sad story, but I think to bring it back to the current transit that we're about to face, it is also a little bit of, where do you see the injustice in the world? What makes you burn with fire of righteousness? Because that's another quality that Sagittarians have, and sometimes it is used negatively against them, that they can be too preachy, right? Like they have these strong beliefs and they're willing to fight you for them. And it's not a bad thing if used in moderation, right? If there is awareness of your words and the impact that they have. And that's, I think, the ultimate goal of Sagittarians, is to strive upwards. And that symbol of Sagittarius is like the arrow, right? So like go up and look for things that excite them. And for us all, as the transit that's coming up, look for things that are higher or uplift our lives, uplift and change the lives of people around us. But at the same time, stay grounded, stay realistic, and be aware that you are limited, right? But like your limitations can also be your strength if you are aware of them. So to bring it back, I'm going to break it down by all 12 signs to tell you what this might mean for you. But in general, expect to be driven by faith, driven by your beliefs. You may be more open to getting into fights with people over things that you believe, and try to be careful there, because you don't want to be preaching too much, right? Like you kind of want to stay aware that it's okay when people disagree with you. You're not there to change every single person's mind. If your actions touch a few select people, it's already great. You can expect to feel more optimistic. In relationships, you're likely to be more restless and you may search freedom, while perhaps also being less caught up in things. Mars in Scorpio is very intense, very deep, very quiet, obsessive at times. We're moving away from that. Now we're a lot more about like, let me tell you my story. Let me get involved with people in a teacher kind of relationship. And you might actually even draw in people who are more spiritual and more like teacher archetypes. So let's do a quick run through. I'm not going to dwell too much on each sign and talk about what this Mars ingress might mean for you. For Aries risings, Mars enters your 9th house. If you have any plans to travel, this is a wonderful time. If you don't have any plans to travel, go to a museum, think about philosophical topics, read a book, learn about astrology, expand your mind somehow. Don't be afraid to also break from the norm. I think anything that's unusual, anything that's unexpected might be wonderful. If you feel you're likely to feel more restless, and more than other signs, you may be the one getting into fights with people about religion, philosophy, politics, so be careful with that. For Taurus rising, Mars is entering your 8th house. 8th house deals with interactions you have with other people, debts, resources you share with other people. So this might be a great time to collaborate with others, to work with others. You might just like naturally get more opportunity to do so, to pay off any debts. Watch out for fights around money and duties, and like kind of talking with people about what they owe you and what you owe them. Try to approach it with a more kind of patient approach. If if you are in a business and people owe you money, you could really maximize this time by reaching out to them, by being proactive, anywhere where you have to deal with others, like paying debts to people, asking them to pay debts to you, asking for loans, anything like that. And psychotherapy, like if you are in therapy, you can experience your mind speeding up. For Gemini rising, Sagittarius is the 7th house, so there's likely to be more interactions with your partner. Maybe you have a trip planned together. Maybe you are starting a business together. If you have a business, you may just get more involved with your business partner. There are likely more fights with people that you are very close with. That's what 7th house is. It's your marriage partner, business partner, any significant one-on-one partnerships. So use the passionate energy of Mars and Sagittarius to form partnerships and be active together versus fight with each other. For Cancer risings, Mars enters the 6th house. Mars loves the 6th house. It's considered the joy of Mars. So it's time for you to get to work, and work could be on your business, your professional pursuits. It could be working on your health. Maybe now is the time to get your exercise routine in order. Perfect time to start working out for all of you Cancer risings out there. Build a schedule, do something to improve your lifestyle, diet, all of your routines. You will have more energy to serve other people or serve causes that you're passionate about, so you can maximize that period by just writing long to-do lists and tackling everything on your list. Make sure that you also allow some downtime, because yes, it's a great placement. Yes, Mars has a lot to do in the 6th house, but there's way too much to do sometimes and you don't want to get burned up. And make sure not to rush places. Like, yes, exercise, but try to maintain some cautiousness and avoid fights with colleagues, because that could be a sign of Mars in the 6th house. For Leo risings, you are facing a very creative period. Sun is in Sagittarius, so is Mercury. Mars goes into your 5th house. Perfect time to dance, write, collaborate with others, find people who share your interests. Also, enjoy life more with Mars in the 5th house. There might be more opportunities for baby making, more dates, more romantic experiences, and it's all great, but just be careful to not overdo it, right? Like, 5th house sometimes is also the house of risk taking, and you don't want to be too reckless and have too much fun and do no work. Definitely maximize this time by starting creative ventures and working with other people. For Virgo rising, Mars in Sagittarius activates your 4th house, and you're likely to, from right now, the 13th of December until January 24th, you're going to be spending lots and lots of time with family. For those of you who are not living with their family, or your family is far away, you cannot hang out with them, it's a great time to work on your home, redecorate, perhaps move, work in the garden, change paintings, anything like that. You will have more energy to devote to your nest. You're likely to feel more subjective and more easily hurt, perhaps, by what people are saying. You're likely not going to express it as openly because it's Mars tucked away in your 4th house. You tend to be more private. And conflicts with family members are a possibility. Once again, in order to avoid that, you can try to just be proactive with your family members instead of fighting with them. For Libra risings, Mars enters your 3rd house, and your schedule is likely to speed up. You're likely to communicate in a more open ways. If people have been annoying you, if you've been holding anything back, now is not the time. And you're probably feeling it already just with Mercury being in your 3rd house. There's a tendency to just say it. Any conversations that need to be had, to have them. You may need to deal with technology more. Maybe you're recording more videos. How funny. I'm a Libra rising and I'm going on a trip, and that's another sign of having Mars in the 3rd house, more short trips. And because I'm going on a trip, I'm like, my plan is to record many, many videos so I can allow myself to chill while I'm there. Make sure to be organized, right? Like there's a lot of things, a lot of communications, possibly fights with neighbors or siblings. So be careful of that. And it's best for you to get organized. Write a to-do list, come up with a schedule, have a solid plan, avoid driving too fast because that's also sometimes a sign of having Mars in the 3rd house. For Scorpio risings, Mars enters your 2nd house. So for you, it's a busy time professionally, financially. Maybe you're coming up with new money-making strategies, new money-making ideas. Some of you may get a second job, maybe start a savings account. Watch out for spending too much because that's what Mars in the 2nd house sometimes is. It means like burning through cash. You also have the power to make money. So it's likely if you do invest into something right now, you will probably make it up quickly afterwards. Fights around values are possible in the 2nd house, fights around money. So make sure to speak up and express your frustrations if you're having any. For Sag risings, it's a big deal. Mars in your 1st house just gives you a boost of energy. And we just had a solar eclipse in your sign. So it's possible that there's lots of new beginnings, new ideas, new people coming into your life. You're maybe stepping up more. Maybe you're looking for a new job. It's a great time to start new things. Anything that involves your physical body, maybe a sculpture project, maybe a physical exercise routine, maybe starting a business, figuring out your branding, anything that is very personal and subjective is great. Lots and lots of energy. Make sure you're using it wisely. There are chances with Mars in the 1st house of like careless accidents. If you are rushing somewhere, you may stumble, you may cut yourself, you may bruise easily. So take care, slow it down, kind of make sure to take naps, I guess. Don't overwork yourself. For Capricorn rising, Mars in the 12th house could be trickier than for other people. You may get a pull to retreat. It could be a great time to go on a trip somewhere, to spend some time alone. Working on your own will likely be preferred. You may have more insights, more energy too. I think the healthy way to use this transit is to do yoga, lean into spirituality, take more walks, journal, any kind of spiritual pursuits. But I think like yoga, martial arts, anything like that would be wonderful. Your intuition is likely going to be stronger. Dreams may be more loud and important. At the same time, Mars in the 12th sometimes brings being too self-critical, and insomnia sometimes comes with Mars in the 12th house. So I think the more rest you get, the more time you involve once again to a spiritual practice, the more restful your sleep will be. So allow yourself some time to unplug. For Aquarius rising, your dreams are coming for review with Mars in the 11th house. It might be the time when you are getting more involved with your community. You're finding people who support you, people who are on the same page. Great time to go out and exercise with other people. Sign up for a class. If you are a teacher, bring people together, exercise together. Great time to lead projects. Basically, you don't want to work on your own. You're the opposite of Capricorn rising. Aquarius rising totally want to work in a group. If you can lead the group, wonderful. Fights around your community. Avoid fights on social media, fights with friends. If you need to express feelings, express feelings. Don't bottle frustrations in, but make sure you're not just getting ignited and instead of going and boxing at the gym, you're boxing with your friendships. New dreams may appear and present themselves to you. So be open to starting new ventures, and I think it could be a great time to question who are the people you are the closest to and how can you better their life and your life in the process. Finally, for Pisces rising, Sagittarius Mars goes into your 10th house, and it's a great time professionally, great time to pioneer new ideas, talk to bosses, ask for more responsibility at work. Of course, wherever Mars goes, fights go. So make sure you're not fighting with people at work. Avoid, getting into pointless conflicts. Still express your feelings, but make sure you're doing it in an honest, careful way. Could be the time you get recognized. A wonderful, like any kind of professional initiatives you have, now is the time from December 13th until January 24th. You want to start a business, you want to sign up for a class, you want to rent a place for your yoga studio, just do it. Don't sit back. Start actively pursuing things. And as far as fights go, yes, you don't want to fight with people for no reason, but if it's a fight for the proper rights at your job, or if it's the fight for the job that you want, being more competitive, now is the time. This is all I have. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a thumbs up and a comment, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.